Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Be Blue to Ourselves, the official Be Blue to Yourself commentary, presented by Tominator Pictures. I am Thomas.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Nate.
And we are Tominator Pictures. We're also Roma Stamo, everybody else, and Marina Tar, respectively.
Everyone else.
It's how you're credited in the end. But yeah, we figured we had so much fun making this, and we really hope you guys enjoyed watching the show, that we were going to go ahead and kind of talk about the parts that you guys didn't really get to see. A lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, the production, like the development, really, of it and everything, because we filmed this whole thing in a day, and I think the longest any one episode is like 13 minutes, so there's like 13 hours worth of effort in one day that went into this, not including scripting and all other stuff. So there's plenty to talk about. We are doing episode 3. I believe the title of this one is called Kek Take It Anymore. So I tried to do puns when I was like writing up the titles for these episodes. And this one was really hard because I was running out of different variations on the word blue. And like, so like Nate, your episode, I knew I wanted it to be called Azure Wish You Were Here, because it felt like, yeah, that's clever. And then I know that mine was going to be like the Boot Bandit Blues. And then in the end, I kind of wanted it to be sort of this Be Blue to Yourself, closer to like the phrase Be Blue to Yourself, but a little different. And so I got all of them down. Like the last one was like Navy had a friend like thee and that kind of thing. But this one I was just like, I don't know what to say, because I didn't want to use the same blue over and over. So I Googled what is blue in like every language on earth. And I think this is like how you say blue in like Ukrainian or something like that. And I was like trying to find, because a lot of them were like really elaborate. Like they were like long, it just wouldn't work with like a pun. I couldn't think of a pun. This one I was like, because we have the falling out at the end of this episode and kind of like everything boils over, it was kind of like, okay, Kek kind of sounds like can't, so let's roll with it. So if you guys are wondering where the title of this came from, no one's asked, which makes me think either nobody cares or everybody knows Ukrainian
just
far
went
more
along
than
with
me.
It. Yeah.
They were like, oh yeah, they know what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
professionals.
That makes sense.
But that's where it came from. But yeah, episode 3, Nate. This one is a big me and you episode. I think this one and 6 are like a big Roma Stamo Marina Tar dynamic episode. What are your thoughts on it, before we dive into it? Because we're kind of all over the place in this one. This one was fun and somewhat emotional to film, I gotta be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw the roots of the drama in the last episode with Radagast.
Yeah.
But, it's fun to see it develop in this way.
Yeah, I was really digging, like I just remember, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but I remember, like, the falling out scene. We were like, okay, it's going to be like this, and this is where we kind of need to go with it. And there was only one time when we cut, and it had nothing to do with performance, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but
It was just
like,
us weeping too hard.
Oh, well, it was like we just went at it. I was like, man, if anybody was in the park that day, they probably thought we would have been breaking up or something. Like, because we just went for it, and Amber just kept filming, and I remember, Amber, you were like, that was really good, and I was like, yeah, I think we got it. I don't think we need to do it again. But I love that finale scene. But the opener of this one was fun as fuck to do. So this episode, I believe, opens with a fight scene. We get to see Radagast again, and then we get a good old falling out. But that fight scene was so goofy and fun. If you guys check out the bloopers for this one, I think the number of times we do the I tackled Nate and then throw a stick at Amber. We did that a lot. And I just remember one of the times, Amber, you just like went down and just started laughing. But yeah, if you guys are ready, I'm ready to hit play. You guys want to jump into it?
Yep.
All right, here's episode 3. If that I'm blue.
Whoa.
Pretty intense.
Okay. So we got to talk about that. Because my trips at the end, those are genuine trips. I could not for the life of me get up. Like, the boots kept slipping, and I was just like, oh fuck, I gotta get up and run away. But yeah, that one, I remember really wanting to do like the different, like compositing 3 different ambers.
How long did that take?
That took surprisingly less time than you would think. Like, the part that took a long time actually was the fake like whip cam between me, you, and fighting our respective ring wraith ambers. So like, initially when you and Amber like clash, I like had set up all the special effects, like you're glowing, she's glowing, and like you guys clash, and then like lightning goes, right? And then it whipped to me, and I had to like make all these different layers to like properly blur it, because when I whipped the camera when you were doing it, there is no other Amber, and I'm whipping the camera, so it's not really going to anyone. So I had to like whip it. And then when there was another whip, I like had to layer it and, you know, phase it together and stuff. It was like, I remember sitting there beating my head against my desk, like, how do I make this look like it's going over? And I think I got it okay. But I
think it looks great.
It took forever because of this. Really, it's the scene where like you and Amber are like clashing, and there's all the lightning and all the effects and shit. And then I bust in. That all just like my computer was weeping to me because there was just so much shit going on. And it was like me tackling you, and then Amber, and then the glow. Both of us, I think, were glowing, and there was an explosion. And then it's like, I remember watching it, and like before I had rendered everything, if you got to the part where like you clash with her, it would just kind of freeze, and you would hear it moving forward, and then it would be, the next thing you would see would be me and you on the ground. Like there was nothing else in between until I rendered it out and actually like had enough memory to watch the thing. But yeah, the actual multiple ambers, I was so stressed about that. Like I was like, oh man, this is gonna look like shit. But thankfully, the fact that you're wearing all of the bed sheets, like the black bed sheets, contrasted enough to where I could be like, okay, I'm taking you out, and then we had you film in each of those spots, so I didn't have to move you, and it just had one of you that was real, and then 2 others, and you just moved back. I loved that you like cross at one point at the end, because it kind of sells it. And I don't remember, I think I just made one of you like transparent and you just passed over him. But it was like, yeah, the bigger struggle was getting us to having enough of a hole for me and Nate to be running away in the like little valley, because those clips weren't shot. Because like the original scene, if I'm going on and on, but like the original shot was just a straight shot of me and Nate running away, and then Amber, you would like come up and you would stare, and then you would go back down, and you'd shuffle over, and then you'd go back up, and you would repeat that a third time.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And so we're still just running away. So at one of them, it's like we're here, but then when you crossed, we'd suddenly be all the way over here. And so it was like, oh shit, I have to like cut a hole so that we continue to run away, but like it doesn't change what yous are doing. But I like that scene. I think it was such a fun way to start the episode because it's just like, let's just fucking fight. I think if there's one thing I'd want to change overall, I wish we had a little bit more action.
Yeah.
There really wasn't like a lot written, but the fight scenes were kind of fun.
Yeah.
I liked it. But then we get this like anticlimactic tree scene.
Wonder what that was all about. They were probably trying to stop us from destroying the ring.
We don't have a ring.
Wait, no, this is Sauron's ring.
I don't see why we need to destroy Sauron's ring. I mean, we don't have a ring. I think that they're just wrong.
No, our whole thing is going to get that ring.
Listen, there's a lot more to life than getting the ring. Muffin?
I also have to say, I think that's the muffin, Amber, you like half ate in between
that's right,
takes.
'cause I got hungry.
And then I realized this when I don't even think it was when I was editing. I think it was like after the episode was already up. In the movie, The Lord of the Rings anyway, in the Fellowship, when Arwen saves Frodo and like helps them at the river and like summons the water horses to beat up the Nazgul, there's only like 5 or 6 there, and there's supposed to be 9, right? And so she says to Aragorn, like, you know, there's 6 on your tail or something. I don't know where the other ones are. And I realized, oh shit, we accidentally answered that question.
That's so perfect.
I'm like, where are they? They're chasing these 2 motherfuckers with their muffins and shit because they don't know what's going on. But yeah, I loved this intro too. I love the trees, and then Amber, where you come out in just a minute, is solid.
That sounds great. Oh dear boy, let me help you.
Oh, thank you. I really could. Oh, yeah.
Radagast, it's so good to see you again. We'd really use your help.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, well, we just actually were accosted by some bandits.
You know, I was too. And yes, they came over me and they took the leaf that you gave me.
Oh no!
And so
Really?
I actually need some more.
I love Nate's.
Oh no, Radagast needs to leave. We can help him with that.
Let me get this straight. You ran in to the same cloaked bandits that we ran into, and the only thing they took was some hobbit leaf.
Well, yes, perhaps.
Are we being serious right now?
Elrond needs leaf either way.
Yes, yes, he does.
You can't be serious.
Are you going to explain this to Lord?
This idea that to us, Hugo Weaving, Lord Elrond, is just jonesing for some hobbit leaf so badly he calls his buddy Radagast, who you know he's like, if anyone knows where to get it in wartime, it's Radagast.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey buddy, bring me some leaf in Rivendell. That to us, to our characters, this is completely reasonable. This is like, oh yeah, no, this is something Elrond would do.
in my new headcanon, this is the moment where since Elrond didn't get the leaf, he later went on to become Agent Smith.
Oh, there you go. That's why he hates mankind
Yeah.
in the Matrix. He's like, you people disgust me and shit, because he never got his fucking leaf. Because of, good call. That is, we are linking so many things of lore. We answered the ring wraith question. We answered how the Matrix ties into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
We really got this down.
Elrond, why he doesn't have his Hobbit leaf.
We only have one pack left. We gave him your whole pack. This pack is my pack. I'm sorry. You're not getting a leaf.
This is Radagast's mission.
We're at the mission.
There is my mission.
Fine. Fine. Take it. Take it. Have a great time. Good luck with your mission. I hope Elrond loves his leaf.
Thank you.
Go with the Valar's blessing. Radagast.
Thank you, dear Lord. Thank you, Marinatar. Marinatar, such a great wizard. Marinatar.
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, because we were going for like a oh, Hansel's so hot right now.
Oh, I did not quite make that mark.
Like that whole bit from
Yeah.
Zoolander, yeah. But I do love how you're just like, oh, Marinatar, such a great
Yeah.
wizard, Marinatar. Just like really twists it for this next scene. Which I gotta, props to you, Amber. Like, me and Nate, I'm gonna say it, we do a great job with the emotional, like our performances, we kill it, no doubt. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think we did a great job. But like, there's such, I noticed like while I was editing, some of my favorite scenes like really came together because it was the ones where like you were behind the camera. Like it was like us doing it and we were going hard, but like the way you kind of, we come down and you're like backing up and we're like arguing and you kind of move, the way you like moved the camera around, like it was really solid and it made it a lot more like immersive instead of like the static scenes like we do. But yeah, I really like this scene and I think it, I don't know why I really like it that much, but it was really cool to do and call back to in some of the later episodes.
It was fun.
What was that?
We were obviously attacked.
What were you doing?
What do you mean, what was I doing? I was
The
going to attack
ringing?
like you.
Well, what help did you do in that situation?
What? They came at us out of nowhere. Besides, I didn't see you doing anything mystical, magical. Ooh, blue wizard man.
Says the blueberry muffin wizard.
Since the, change your name, frankly, to Marinatar the Brown Noser. Excuse me. All this, yes, Radagast, take all of our Hobbit leaf. Fucking love you, Lord Radagast. What was that?
Lord Radagast.
You know what I mean.
He was on a mission.
Oh, here we go again. Mission. Mr. Mission over here is over here. Can't see past what some random person said in an office. We knew we were dead. How do you know that wasn't even, like, fake?
Give me that stuff.
No way. There's my stuff. Take it.
This was perfect the whole way.
This was
And
so
then-
fun to do.
This was so fun. And I think what made it even more fun, honestly, was that we were so into it. Like, we were going. And, like, there was going to be that cut where, like, it cuts to, like, straight on to you, more or less, breaking the staff. And we just kept flowing that you just, like, snapped the staff over your knee, like, before we got to it. Because I remember in the blooper, I go, wait, no! And you just, like, boom, and you, like, just stop. And you're, like, staring. And I was like, oh my God. Like, in my head, I'm like, man, we were killing it. We were doing so good. We were so into it. We didn't even think about it. It was like a real argument over this stupid wizard shit. And it, like, luckily you didn't, like, you didn't really, like, full on snap it. But I remember we both heard a crack and we stared at each other like, oh, fuck. Like,
They
but
were
you know
not
what?
as sturdy as I was expecting them to be.
Well, that was honestly, it was good because that was your idea with the. So if you guys watch episode 1, me and Nate spent like hours watching. I think it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the original Judge Dredd movie.
Yeah.
While we were like making props, and so I'm sitting there stapling leather to shoes. Nate was taking care of the sticks, and we were both like, we had this scene scripted. We're gonna snap. Nate was gonna snap my staff, and when we were looking at the staffs, we're like, I don't think you're gonna be able to get through this in one like hit. If you do, you might really hurt yourself. We were like, we shouldn't do that. So Nate was like, well, we could score it. And like it'll be weaker, and so like you kind of like cut, like I think you took a pair of was it scissors?
Yep.
We learned so many ways to use scissors that night because we were trading it back and forth because you were like, and we'll talk about it a little later, but in another episode, but like you were using them to like whittle down one end, and then I would be like, you would take a break, and I'd be like, here, let me get the scissors. And I would like use it to cut up the bag, and then we'd hand them back. But you like sawed these perfect little, if you guys like watch really close so you can see them in some shots, these like little cuts into the staves. Because we're like, we should do both. Because like, just in case, you know, if we fuck it up, we have backup, we can always shoot around it. And so when you like snapped it in like a fit of rage, it was great because we were like, okay, cool, it works. like, I was so scared when we were filming it that you were gonna like break your knee or something. Like I was like, oh man, we're going smooth, but this was it'll be a documentary about this web series we wanted to make, but it all went out the window because we had to get you to the hospital because you shattered your knee or something on this stupid pole. But yeah, this was so much fun, and I really like I was trying to play with the colors in this one to get a little. I remember this one I was like experimenting with stuff. So like you had the sound, like the ringing, it kind of amplified the whole like frustration. And then if you watch, because I don't always notice it, I had kind of like a like noise, like visual noise, kind of steadily ramping up the entire scene. And then when you smash the staff, I want it to be red because, like, you know, I think, was it purple? I think purple was when I used the, whatever blue, some other color was when I made the muffin. And then in the next, in your episode, Nate, there's some other colors that go on with the magic. But with this one, I want it to be like, this is bad. And so, like, red, we're going with red. But the minute it does the red, the color all comes back to normal, the noise goes away. And it's almost like everything like comes back to like, oh, like snap back to your senses kind of type thing. But yeah, this was fun.
You broke my staff.
Not like you were using it.
Fine. You know what? Fine. On you. On this. On you. Take it. Have fun. Marina Tar the Blue. On your mission. Whatever you want to do. It's all your problem now, bud. Have fun.
Such a clean.
I know.
So good.
It's so good that TikTok gave me shit about it.
What happened there?
So like when I was like trying to upload these to TikTok, sorry guys, I kind of stopped doing that because TikTok is just fucking awful about music. Like if it's anything that's more than a minute, doesn't matter if it's original or whatever, they're like, you cannot use it. So like the videos can be up to 10 minutes, but if you use more than a minute of audio or of music, it gets really wonky about it. So for this, the only thing I could conclude, because I tried cutting every single part where there's music. I tried cutting it, shortening it down, messing with, like, I thought, oh, it's the Radagast song because that kind of played under the whole thing. I kept trying to edit it. It rejected it over and over and over. And I realized what it was was that guitar song, which is just some generic song I got from YouTube, phasing into the I'm Blue, which props to Cornelius Link, again, for letting us use that really appreciate it. It fit really well. It fit too well, because the way that the key of both songs fit, I was like, ooh, this sounds so good. It'll be like a nice clean fade. And apparently it's too clean for TikTok, because they were like, oh, it's just one big song. This doesn't count. Get it out of our, it's all muted. And I was like, fuck. So yeah, it's a YouTube exclusive. I think only episode 1, maybe 2 survives on TikTok now.
Wow.
But
we need a new TikTok.
yeah. Yeah, we need to, what did they say? TikTok toe.
Sounds good.
Now I see
A
why
winner.
Congress banned it.
Yeah, so now we're going to get, I don't even know. I can't even think of a pun that is better than TikTok to sound like the great value version of TikTok.
We'll think
Tic
about it.
tac toe? I don't know. Tick not. But that's episode 3. That was a fun one to film. And I think there were a few people who I remember like reached out to me after. I don't know about you guys, but I know there's a few people who were like, they were just straight up like, wait a minute, what just happened? Like they like episode 1 and 2 are kind of this like, oh, it's a goofy adventure with these wizards, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's emotion,
Drama.
it's drama, yeah. And I remember people were like, what, like what is happening? And I was like, yeah, that we actually had a plan.
Just to look inside our twisted minds.
Oh yeah. All that angst built up over the years. I will say though, the main reason I take off my robe was because it hadn't shipped before we filmed episode 4. Because episode 4 is the only episode in its entirety. Nate's episode split between 2 days, technically. But episode 4 was filmed before everything. And it was filmed in Utah because we could. It was just like we were there and like, let's do it. But the robe hadn't come yet. And so we had to like circle back and be like, well, I guess just I'll throw the robe off because I can't have it in the next episode because I don't wear it. So, okay. And I remember keeping my hair tied up while we were filming because I realized that I hadn't cut my hair when we filmed in Utah, so my beard and my hair were really long. And I remember thinking, oh, it'd be great. This wasn't myself. I should have said something. But like in my head, I was like, oh, this will be great because it looks like I've been wandering forever. Like my hair's all long. I'm looking all disheveled. And then like I'm out in the desert doing stuff. But yeah, that was why I threw my robe off. And I remember thinking like, this might confuse people. Like, why would you do that? But as always, you know, guys, what so for this one, and maybe it's just because I like it more, what was your favorite part? What's your favorite part of the episode? What was your favorite part to do if it's different? Because those I guess could be different. And then what would you change if you could change anything? I'm gonna start with Nate. Let's start with Nate.
Well, I think the most fun is just the fight we had at the end, the like emotional,
right?
You know, fight and snapping the staff and all of that. That was a lot of fun. What I would change, it's tricky because I know last episode we were talking about maybe if we had another cameraman, it would have been better. I just keep coming back to that. I think having a camera person would really change things in most scenes that we didn't have someone that wasn't acting in it.
For sure. I could get behind the cameraman part pretty heavily too. Like I think if we learned anything throughout this whole production, it's like, oh yeah, cameraman. There's a reason that's a job, not shared across the board. But yeah, Amber, what about you?
So my favorite parts were obviously the parts that I did because I was in it. I'm just kidding. But seriously, for me, those were a lot of fun. Just playing a very kooky character and then also seeing the dynamic change between you two. And so seeing that, Ramastano getting like, are we for real? Like that gave me a chuckle, because you were just like, are we seriously buying this shit? And then Nate's character is just going like, oh yeah,
Of course we are.
But that kind of continuing the divide between you two to ultimately where we get to this place where you've separated now, and it seems like there's no reconciliation between you two. And of course we know, like, later on there will be, but at this point viewers don't know that. And so they're just like, oh my gosh, like two guys that have like broken up, what are they going to do now? So I really enjoyed that. As for things I would change, I do have to agree with Nate on that, with the camera work. And yeah, just, I wish we had like an extra person to take like bigger shots. And so giving a fuller view of like what's going on. And even like the fighting scenes that you were talking about too, I think we could have done a little bit more choreography with that. But given the time that we had, I totally understand why we did it.
Yeah. I think if I were to change anything, I'm just going to say something different because I agree with the camera stuff totally. Like if we had another cameraman, it'd be great. But then again, I'm also the one who was like, I really wish we had a crane for the final shot of this whole show. So I don't feel like I get an opinion. But like, I think to your point about the choreography, it would have been really cool. Like if we had like a day of just like, let's like really plot out some choreography and make it look really elaborate. That could have been like really fun to have, like spinning stabs or like, Amber coming at us with more than a stick. Because I think you just had a stick. I think we just picked one up off the ground. I don't even think it was special. But I think like that would have been fun. Like the fight scene overall, I remember thinking like, oh, this is really different. Like to film, I remember Nate, you and I sitting there like, how do we direct a action sequence? Because it's really easy to be like, yeah, be emotional or be annoyed or be happy, be jokey, be weird, and just talk. Because like that final scene was great. Like, I mean, we do a great job with it, but it was also like, we know what the emotions are, we know what the page says, as opposed to Marina Tar and Romastamo fight. I don't even think they're ring wraiths in the script, or I think they're just bandits, and we just made them magical. But I think like when that's all you have and you don't have like oh crap, what did we want this to look like? And we didn't have time to like sit down and go, okay, like, well, we want, this to be that and these two to fight this. Like we couldn't have two Ambers fight one person. So it was like, how do we go about it? And I think like if I changed anything, it would be like getting the choreography maybe more robust, because if we had time, and like plot it out more, because I think it was fun. I remember like looking at some of the bloopers and some of the other like takes where it's you and Amber like clashing together. Like it's like, okay, do it like this, okay, do it like that, and then like come at each other really hard and really fast. It's like, okay, go really slow and I'll speed it up, and like that kind of thing. It's like, it'd be cool if we like knew what we wanted that to look like. Maybe get a couple more clashes. But yeah, I think that scene, I think, while I really like the ending and I think it's great and it was like really cool, that was a moment, before I leave, I think that was a moment for me where I was like, oh hell yeah, we are doing this. Like that was that, like, mostly because of the order we filmed stuff in. But that one I was like, oh yeah, we're on to something. Like there's an element here to this show. As goofy, as low budget as it is, it's like we are showing like we're doing something with it. We're not just like, we're out here in the park goofing around. Like we had a purpose. But I still think the fight scene in the beginning was the funnest thing to film. Like just getting to like throw ourselves on the ground, and like I remember like laying on the ground next to you, Nate, and Amber being like, so what am I doing? And like having to be like, roll over and be like, okay, so you're gonna film us and we're gonna look at each other and then we're gonna get back up and then we're gonna run away, and I'm like, okay, and like having to roll back on the ground and be like, okay, let's do it. Like, it was just fun. It was fun getting to like roll around in the dirt. I think I liked that scene best. But next week, we get to hear a lot of Nate's thoughts because Nate, you're not in this episode except in flashbacks. That's right. Not next week. I should amend that. It's next week. We're releasing these every other week. If you're just joining us, really appreciate it. Probably should watch this show first. I just want to throw that out there. We even made it into a nice movie form. You could watch all of it in one sitting and it'll flow. You don't have to listen to, well, I guess maybe they put ads in it. I don't know. But you don't have to like stop the episodes. You can watch the whole thing before you continue on this commentary because there's probably a ton that doesn't make any damn sense. Mm-hmm. But thanks for coming in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed this commentary. And be back next week when we watch the Boot Bandit Blues, episode 4, which is Romastamo's solo episode and his like come to Iluvatar moment. Which was fun. I mean, I think it's fun. It was fun. It's fun to, that one was more fun to make trailers for, I think, than anything, just because like Dune 2 had just come out and it was like really applicable. But yeah, join us for that. And then we're Tominator Pictures. Check out these episodes. Check out I don't know if you're watching this in the future, but if you are, check out whatever else we've created between now and then. And also check out the other stuff we've created, like this and weird too. But until next week, I'm Thomas.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Nate.
And this is Be Blue to Ourselves. See you guys next week.